Yo, what's up, everybody?
What's going on?
Welcome back to the Come Up Podcast. Yes, sir. This is Adam. Leo just ran off real quick. He'll be back in a second. Just grabbing his hat. This time it's just the two of us. Nick isn't here with us, but we're talking about Rumble in the Den 4, the post-fight breakdown. And listen, if you weren't in the building, you missed a fucking war. I shouldn't be saying that. You missed a damn war. And the den was packed. The crowd was on fire. These fighters, they left their hearts in the fucking ring. We saw knockouts. We saw blood. We saw grit, and we just saw who was really built for this. This isn't a cookie cutter boxing show, and we're giving you the raw, the truth about boxing, and we're oh, there we go. Oh, what the fuck's going on with the camera today? I don't know why it's. We'll figure it out. All right, we'll get our AV guys on this shit. Sorry about that, guys. But it was a hell of a fight, and we're kind of gonna go through everything, and so grab your mouthpieces, sit tight, and let's get into what really happened at Rumble in the Den. Leo, there was a whole build up to this whole thing, right? It wasn't just it wasn't just throw the fights together and really and just hope for the best, right? We really put our hearts and souls into this. One of the big things that we have to deal with is as coaches, as promoters, as all these things. What's going on, Digame? Yo, we're talking about Za's performance and everything. Please share this out, like it, follow us. You know the deal. But one of the things that we dealt with, as we usually do, what's the big deal that we deal with every single time there's a fight?
I think the biggest thing we deal with is people calling out.
Pulling out
last
minute.
minute.
What's going on, Joker? Nick, we miss you over here.
100%.
What's going on?
We definitely was, it's just getting these bouts put together, And we know that in the amateur background, there's no really accountability for these people. Hopefully USA Boxing could, work with us or work with just any gym that wants to hold people accountable. I know Keeman Jackson put something up, stating, I think it was like a stream or whatever, or a live or something. He was just saying, there has to be accountability.
100%.
And, that's one of the main things when we're doing fights. You can have 20 bouts, 25 bouts in the midst, and people call and they say yes, we're coming, and then sometimes you don't show up. So that's one of the main things that we really deal with and try to fix.
This was our first one where we had 13 bouts.
Yes.
This is
but
our biggest
together,
show.
I think we had 21 bouts.
Originally, we had 21 bouts,
yes.
Which means that's how many people called out. What is that? That's 7 people, 7 fighters that didn't show up, didn't make weight. This is their profession. This is what they're going to be doing for the rest of their life, and you can't take it seriously enough to do it as an amateur. If I was going to go get a tattoo and my tattoo artist doesn't show up, I'm not using him I'm not recommending him. I'm not using him as a tattoo artist. Or my doctor. He just flunked out of doctor school 5 times.
Oh yeah.
I'm not letting him do surgery.
And Joker effect. What's going on, Nick? He put on there. The show was insane. Yes, he was also there. Doing the broadcasting for the most part, and just dealing with Rumble. And listen, it was a lot of things going on this show. More than what we anticipated, but we kind of knew what was going to happen. A lot more people showed up. We had a lot of
full house. It really was
a full house.
Yo, Nick, one of those things that you said on the live stream was like, "Yo, this place it's packed." It was, and you said it legitimately. You turned around and you were like, "Yo, it was packed in here," and we spent a lot of time promoting this and getting this out there. It was really a cool thing to see all that come to fruition.
Oh yeah, and it was a great time. It wasn't just fights. You had they should definitely be held accountable for not respecting the effort and to making yes, absolutely. Our OIC, that's the other part of the moving pieces is the OIC, the be in the gaming category. Oh, I don't know how to change that. Can I change that now? Maybe, I don't know. We'll change that over the next time. But it's one of the
What's
things
going
that we
on,
work
Abner and Zareth? I guess is the Zareth Darkmind.
Yeah.
I just want to give
And
you guys.
Abner did great, man.
Yeah,
Hopefully you can do. I believe you're the Abner. I believe you're the rapper. I believe from when we had our podcast. What show was it? 4 or 5 where we had Wells, our rapper, that came down and spoke.
Zareth is a homie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, guys, please share this out. Make sure we get some views going on this. We're just trying to grow this as big as possible and make this into everything.
But definitely a great event. Definitely a great event, and more is coming.
Thank you, Zareth.
More is coming. And we're just gonna, we're gonna just keep continuing to, put our put good shows on, help people around us, and definitely get our fighters fighting.
It's funny because there's a bunch of boxing gyms in the area, but we're the only ones that actively talk about this stuff. We got into this with no guidance, no help at all, whether it's the gym itself, excuse me, or the shared the love. Thank you very much. Whether it's working the gym itself or putting on a show, nobody else is out there to give you guidance. It's a funny business that we're in, and it's not like most other businesses. Like, it's really hush hush on your secret sauce, and we're the only ones that out here talking about this. The reality is that we've done this 4 times, and there's still things that we screw up. There's still things that are last minute, like, oh my God, is this going to happen? One of the other things, just like the fighters pulling out, is USA Boxing. We got notified by our matchmaker, what was it, 2 days before? USA Boxing might not show up. We might not have judges. That's not the thing that you want to hear when you just dump $5,000 into something, and you're like, I hope to make back half of that. We scrambled like hell to make sure that we had an OIC, official in charge, make sure that they had judges. We make sure that we have parents ourselves in the gym that can be judges, just in case. It's so unnerving. Nick, you remember when we dealt with that the last time, and it was a hassle. And it's the one part of this thing that the 2 parts that we can't control are the fighters that aren't ours and the USA Boxing. Everything else is under our control, and we kind of have that. Once we figured it out, whether it was the ticketing system, whether it was I still have PTSD from the wolf calls. We're going, like we said, these are all things that we're trying to figure out how to separate out audios, and for
PTSD.
for
for
the people online, you have the chat that is able to create the banter. In the gym, it's a little different, so you have to kind of artificially manipulate that. So those wolf howls, they help out the inside group, but I know that on the chat you guys were all like, what the fuck? So we're trying to figure out how to get that separated out. I need to make another track for you guys to play for those events. Definitely, that would be awesome. Those are really the big things that we're doing that that go on, that it's just like uncontrollable and gives us anxiety beforehand. There's only we kind of prep the fighters beforehand, as we have 3 to 4 months between each event, and Leo is big into he's kind of the head coach here, and not kind of, he is the head coach here, but that we can control making sure that our fighters are ready. The thing that we can't control, your stepdaughter was supposed to fight on this card.
Yes.
And what ended up happening?
Yeah, the girl didn't show up.
Not only didn't she show up, it was even worse than that. She didn't have her card. She didn't have her medical. She didn't have nothing ready.
There was a couple things that she didn't have, and it just, what people don't realize is, yes, we're not pro, right? Like, this is amateur, but these guys that, whether it's, females, males, kids, adults, everybody's still preparing. They're preparing to fight, and it's one thing when you're fighting in your, in your home gym. It's one of the best things. You see everybody else fighting and winning, and then you go to your, you want to represent too, and you just weren't able to. And there's a lot of fighters that, I mean, you can go down the list of people, coaches, business owners. They're all going down and they want to change. They want a big change because you have 25, 30. But the fact that you have to already set up 25 to 30 bouts prior to the event, just to make sure, because we already know that 100% this is going to happen. It's very frustrating and nerve-wracking, especially when you're talking about the amount of money you threw. We also had we had another gym that they threw an event, and they spent the money, and everybody was good. They had probably, I believe 18 bouts, and they had to cancel at the last moment because whether our doctor didn't show up, whether the judges don't show up, it's just a couple different things. But what I do know is, from what we've been doing, to help anyone else out there that's doing this, is definitely stay in touch with USA Boxing. You have to. We stay in touch. Mainly Adam stays in touch with these people because there's so much that's going on, and the last thing you need is to have such a great event and then it gets shut down. Now you got to regroup, and some gyms, they don't even regroup, right? They literally just lost a lot of money, and now they're trying to figure things out. So we got to definitely keep moving forward. But for so far, we have a good system in place, and we've been doing pretty good in our events. And this event, we had more than we've ever had. We had 13 bouts, which obviously we would love more. But the best is
those are certainly things that can end a business.
Oh, yeah.
And Nick, I don't know if you remember on our when we did Rumble in the Den 2. I remember the three of us sitting in the back room and being like, I hope we can pay rent this month, because we landed up going from 21 bouts to, what was it, 6, 7?
Yes.
It
almost felt like there was no sense in throwing a show. But, it is nerve-wracking. And, people don't realize, me and Adam, we're building this here. And that's, the last thing any owner wants to do in anything is fail. Like, no one wants to fail. Any fighter doesn't want to fail. Any owner doesn't want to fail. People that are doing good, whether it's for themselves or, doing good just for the people or the community, nobody wants to fail. So, that's kind of what we've been telling ourselves, all the time. We're just not going to fail. And, all we have to do is pick up the phone and just dial, and if you do it once, you got to do it twice. Keep doing it.
The USA Boxing definitely knows that we have the public behind us. They know that we have Rumble. When I spoke to the OIC and I told them, we had 96,000 views on our last on Rumble in the Den 3. He was like, that's more than what we get from nationals. He's like, are you sure those numbers are right? I go, yeah, I can show you. A lot of people think that it's just put the gloves on, put the lights on, and but that's not the case. There's a lot of sleepless nights. There's a lot of calls, last minute calls. There's praying that fighters make weight and show up. There's a lot of that, and they're just last minute things that are unnerving. It's unnerving, to say the least. One of the what was it? The just not being able to control. It's the case with any live event, is not being able to control certain things. I guess it's the same in theater or whatever it is. Where I hope you say break a leg, and you hope the person doesn't break a leg. It's a huge issue, and we're trying to figure out ways to mitigate that. And I think the eyes behind Rumble, or the eyes behind what we do as far as Rumble in the Den, really helps with that. We had a few fighters that said, "Hey, I read the description and 96,000 viewers. This Rumble in the Den 4 had 50,000, and that's only because the whole Charlie Kirk Memorial thing happened. But outside of that, I'm sure we would have hit at least 96,000. I'm sure we would have probably exceeded 100,000. They read that and they were like, "Oh, I'm definitely there. Make sure I'm on the card," and they were thrilled. Nick, next time you're in the gym, can we figure out how to get this to 16:9 or whatever? Because right now I think we're 4:3. Our Instagram's going crazy. Please send it out. Please make sure we're moving and grooving. One of the craziest things, because I remember Monday morning, you came into the gym and you looked at me and you're like, yo, I feel like I have a hangover. This is 2 days after the event. And I look at you and I'm like, I just don't want to be here right now.
Yeah, it's funny because, Chad, just to keep you guys updated, we came back. So the event was over. The event was over. And then Monday comes and, we have to get back to the gym, get back to training,
Let's go through Sunday. We went
Well, yeah,
through
definitely
all of
Sunday. So we were all sitting here and we're like, me and Adam, we talked about, we should come in Sunday morning. And I don't know what happened. I mean, none of us showed up. We didn't do a damn thing. And I ended up talking to Adam on Monday. I mean, we were so exhausted. And I told him, I was like, Adam, I feel like I had an hangover and I don't drink. And then I just thought it was me. And then, Adam said the same thing. He was like, listen, man, I don't know, man. I didn't feel good. And even Monday I was sluggish. I still know I had to train people and, there's nothing wrong with it. But,
ran classes and everything.
Ran classes. But the thing is, I'm just trying to figure out, like, is it a certain age or were we just exhausted? But in the fight, like as things are going, I think, again, this is not made for everyone.
A ton of energy was spent in this. Absolutely.
It was between just the emotional effects that we had, making sure everything goes well. When you're dealing with events, especially the people in our gym or anything else is, who else will you go to, right? You go to Adam and Leo. You see, do these guys know what's going on? And I can't even express to you guys how many times I walked back and forth in the gym. It was just a lot. It was a lot of walking.
I'm pretty sure if we had a dollar for every time our names were called, I know that it's like the most what do you call that word? It's like cliche. But if we had a dollar for every time our name was called.
Oh yeah,
we'd shut down the gym because we'd be billionaires right now.
And coming back and forth and helping these people, and then your job's never done. It's never done. Even though we had a staff behind us, we just have to guide everybody, make sure everybody's good, make sure the event is going as good, as perfect as possible. Because that's what people don't realize. Being the owners of this gym, we try. Our job is to make sure that not only we throw great events, but we make sure everyone's happy when they leave out of there. Now, I know that not everyone's going to be happy. We do understand that, but we do everything in our power, and that's what makes us who we are, and that's what makes Wolfsden who we are. We're here to do the best. If we're going to train, we're going to be the best at it. If we're going to throw an event, we are looking forward to being the best at it. At least around our local area, and then at least around the whole country. That is our goal. And I tell you guys all the time, we call this the Come Up Podcast because we're coming up on something special. And we're going to continue and not stop until we get to exactly where we want to be. And that's, people always say sky's the limit, but we're trying to go further than that.
Sky's not the limit.
It really isn't.
We're going to outer space, baby.
We're going as far
Elon Musk,
we
move
can
aside,
go.
baby.
So, we're gonna continue to go. And, one of the things that, me and Coach Adam were talking about, people say, oh, boxing businesses, you can't make money. Well, we're here to tell you guys, no, you can.
There's a ton of them.
It's just you have to be open-minded, and you have to understand that I don't care what business you have, you maximize it, and then you kind of go outside the box and you do more things that you can possibly think of to build your business, and that's exactly what we're doing. And like we tell you guys, the best is yet to come, and you got to build a team, and we're starting to build that team. Have those people that we can count on, and it's just going beautifully. And I think that our next event may even be bigger, may even be a lot bigger. And
we got some things.
We have some things that we will be in the works.
It was easy. Everybody would be doing it. That's right. That's right. Yeah. I keep saying that every time somebody comes into the gym. I say the same thing.
It's funny when you have some people in the chat. That when they tell they write messages and they get it. You can tell the difference between and nothing's about. Listen, you have people that are 9-to-5ers and they do great in life and things like that. But it's a whole nother ball game when everything's on you. Everything relies on you. If you fail, it's on you. There's no one else to look at but each other. And I think that's probably one of the scariest things, knowing that you open up something and, oh my God, like something's wrong or you lose it all. And, it's life-changing. We've turned our whole lives around from where we at when we started. And, it's only getting better. And everyone that, rides with us and gives us the positive feedback, Just know that we appreciate. We may not thank you because there's so much going on, but just know that we will appreciate you. And that thank you will come through eventually. But we're doing a lot. We're doing a lot, and I think we're doing a damn good job for everything that we're doing. There's a lot of these things that we do in an event that people like for matchmaking. Me and Coach Adam done that before. And that is a full-time job. Matchmaking is a full-time job, especially when you're on a time crunch, and it becomes a real full-time job that month of.
The
day before of. It was funny because Dr. Spears was in the back, with the doctors, and he's our matchmaker. And he's literally setting up a fight as we're going on. You think his job is done? No, his job wasn't done. He was still trying to make fights because what can you do when people call out? What can you do when 2 days before they're like, we're definitely coming, and then they don't come? Right, so
can't make up for 6 days in this lane. That's for sure.
Yeah. So we got to keep pushing, and there's a lot of people that understand exactly what we're going through, and the truth is like we always say, you just pick up the phone, start dialing. You keep going, and there are
show goes on.
When you're talking about a business that you've been open for years, people don't realize all the things. Me and Adam talk about all the time. We're not the same person maybe when we started, and we're definitely not mentally in maybe the greatest space before we started, or even now,
we're a little crazy right now.
Because you're always on the edge. You're always worried. Day in and day out. I do more of the worrying. I'm kind of just like, no, let's go. But once the worrying gets out of me,
I start worrying.
Then Adam starts worrying, and then I'm like, we got to go, and then. That's what the partnership's all about. If you have two guys that don't worry, you ain't going nowhere. But if you have it mixed, and my energy carries to his energy carries to mine, and there's a lot of things that we watch out for, but we also know how to deal with each other, and it's rare when you find people that know how to deal with each other. I mean, shit is hard, but we keep fighting, we keep battling, and we've been growing since day one.
One of the things that I kept getting asked was there were a lot of gyms that came in, and they're like, "Yo, we're thinking about doing our first event, and I'll talk to you. Let me talk to you real quick. What? Let me know what to look out for." I go, I could tell you what to look out for, but you gotta be okay with losing money. The first 3 events you're going to lose money, and you gotta be okay with that. Because you're still working out all the kinks. I could tell you, do this, this, and this, and you're going to think you know better than me, but it's only because I already have gone through this, because we did the same thing. And, there's you got to keep pushing, and you got to keep going. Thank you very much. We're trying, and Digame, we love the energy that you bring into the gym as well. Same thing with your son. Your son put on a performance, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But every single one of those fights that night that day were fucking amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Although I don't remember most of them, it's kind of funny because I'm looking back at the videos, the stream, and I see myself in the corner. I'm like, I'm watching the event, and I'm like, I don't remember seeing any of this at all.
It's funny because I did film work with Za and Khalik, and I'm like, I didn't even know that happened. Because while I'm there coaching, I'm like thinking of 1,000 other things, like, is everything good? Their fight gonna break out? What's going on with ticket sales? What's going on with this? And it's all part of just keep going. It's gotten to the point where like I literally wrap hands in less than 10 minutes, right? Because it's just the whole, Leo, I need you for something. Okay, wrapping up. And then there's certain times where it's like, it's not like when I go to another fight where I'm just like, man, I could take my time, do whatever, talk to you, give you a little rundown. Some of our fighters, I literally had to run, do some power work, get back, and thanks to Coach T, helping out, wrapping hands, and just helping these guys as well. But we talk about a team, and this is what you got to build. You got a family. You have a team in your gym, and then you have that team that comes and that gets together for for our bout shows, and and then we have a whole other team just with just the business. And I think that's one of the best things about building a team is you build a team with people you can trust, and then from there, now you know how to start building your team. And then when they give you that same feedback, that same energy, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And we've done this for quite some time now. And you know, the thing that people don't realize in these boxing gyms, you learn so fast. You know, especially when you're moving at the rate where we're moving, you learn things so fast. You know what not to do. You know what you can do. You know things you could get away with. Things you're definitely not going to get away with. You know, there's a lot of things. You know, whether it's legal, whether it's just in your gym, whether it's on bout shows. So you know, I think that's
being disrespected.
Yeah, you know, there's just a lot of different things that you know, you deal with, and we're handling it the best we can, and even things that we don't handle well. You know, eventually we'll figure it out, or you know, we talk to each other over it, and you know, but the show itself, as hectic as it felt, when it was all said and done, we were very proud of everybody coming together. You know, the parents that did come for the kids, all of our fighters that were there with our crowd, with just the people helping us prior to the event, the people that helped us during the event. You know, hats off to everyone that was a part of this, whether you were a fan, a fighter,
food, whatever.
You know, we had people that donated. You know, that's what it's about. You know, just a community coming to help each other out, so we can help other people. You know, whether it's fighters, whether it's other parents. You know, to get you know, where they want to be, and even even the fighters that come to our events and their families there and their kid wins. You know, it's just still a beautiful thing. You did that in our gym.
And even if when they don't win, we're going to switch gears in a second, because that brings up our next topic. Is one of the greatest fights that night. I think. I mean, we have the father in the chat. Dígame, your son did phenomenal. It was his first fight, and you know, the first fight tells a lot. You know, this is what we were talking about before. Is who's really built for this, and who really shows the heart, the effort, the and there were things that he was doing. You know, the week of in sparring that were like, yo, you gotta throw that backhand, you gotta throw it, and you know, when the pressure was on, he did what he was supposed to do. Unfortunately, he didn't win the fight, but that it was his first fight, and he did phenomenally. You know, I can't take any credit. You know, Leo is the main coach with Zah for sure. Has put in an incredible amount of work with them, but Zah puts in effort, and you know, Dígame, you get him here, you make sure he's here and he's working. You know, and
I think you know what I love about you know, our gym and you know the fighters in our gym is, you know, we have a good amount, and the best part is as a fighter, you know, especially when you're young, you know, we put Q and Big Mike in front of Zah, you know, because we understood Zah was the crowd favorite, you know, between him and Khalik. You know, people come to, you know, they want to come and see the people that they've been seeing in our gym, you know, and the main thing is that you know, Zah and you know, whether it's Khalik and Zah, they were able to see guys like Q win. You know, Q is definitely a lot older. Q's older. You know, Big Mike's a little older. So, you know, when you put two guys that get a win right before Zah, you know, it gives them that you know, my boys are winning. You know, I can do this. And the truth is that when Zah got in there, you know, we you know, we as the coaches, the main thing was, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna shine in this moment? Is he gonna take, you know, or is he gonna freeze up? You know, that's what every.
Jax, how you doing?
What's going on, Lady Jax? That's what every coach wonders, you know, especially when you have some sparring and you know you have fighters that are good in sparring. Some fighters that are not good in the fight. Some fighters good in fights, not good in sparring. You know, and as time goes by, they get better in both. But the truth is he showed a warrior's heart out there.
100%.
You know,
100%.
It is not easy to get punched in the face a couple times and be able to still come forward, or even still continue to not feel like.
Even at that age, he's 11?
12. You know, it's not easy to do that.
It's not easy at any age. But
it's not easy
to overcome that fear at
especially
that age.
A kid who's older than him. You know, maybe didn't look as big as him, but it's your first fight. This kid had fights already.
And you're performing in front of everybody.
Yes, and the thing is you know, they you know, it's easier to perform outside of your gym instead of inside. Why? Because everybody's there for you.
He wasn't there.
And that's you know, as a coach, you know, Mayweather said it the best. How you gonna do when you fighting under the lights? It's a whole nother level. Now, granted, that's another level, but this is the start of what's going to happen, when the kid eventually turns pro and then, he moves on the chain. Like, as a coach, it's like, oh, he's not nervous. He's solid. Now we just got to get his skills, where it needs to be, and people don't realize he took a gamble. He fought a kid that had more fights than him.
Yep.
He took a kid that's a year older than him, and he held his own, and there's no doubt in my mind as we move forward, he's going to start racking up wins. And then once you start racking up wins, you get this whole nother level of you get this whole nother, it's like you just turn into something different. Now it's like you can win. You belong here. And I remember feeling that when I fought. Once you get that win, it's like, oh, I belong here. Oh, this is not as hard as maybe I'm making it. And it's like we tell you guys, everything that we do, whether as a team, as a gym, anything we do, we give it our all. And we damn near try to be perfect in it. Whether we're tired, whether, there are days I don't want to get up and train. I really don't. When you getting hit with pad works all the time, you pick up a pen or, you have a marker pen and it just falls out of your hand. These are early signs of like, yo, you're getting fucked up. But, we have to man up and continue because, we signed up definitely for training. And a lot of these things maybe we signed up for and we didn't know about, but we're here. And we're going to do it. We're going to deal with it. And however we deal with it, we learn from it. So getting to the fights now, Adam.
Before we go on, guys, please share this out, subscribe, or not subscribe, what is it, follow, whatever, Please
follow, subscribe, share, the whole nine.
Thumbs up, all that good stuff.
We do appreciate every single one of you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Yeah, so let's get back into it. We had a few of our guys fighting. We had quite a few of our guys fighting. And we had some TKOs, we had some stoppages, we had some blood, we had kidney shots. It was set up for kidney shots. Man, some of these fights were solid. Do you have a particularly favorite one? Q was very early on. Quayshawn.
He
set the bar pretty high.
Well, I'll tell you what. The first thing is, I'm pretty sure they're not watching the show, but Onyx did a very good job.
He did a great job.
That was the first fight that we threw. That was in the ring, and in our event, the first fight, and Onyx looked like more of a slow starter. He started off slow. First round, it didn't look like he was doing much, and then all of a sudden he picked it up that second and third round. And you saw a complete fighter in Onyx. You saw a kid that can throw to the body and come up top and have a heart of a lion. 100%. In the beginning, it's like, oh, man, I don't know if this guy's good. Or I don't know if he's, but then you start realizing, because I believe he was a state champ for the Golden Gloves. I hope I'm right on that. But you just start seeing him picking up, and it's like, oh,
we got
like,
something going on.
You a dog. Mm-hmm. Like, you definitely a dog. You're not like a champ or anybody that just talks about you and they got love for you. But no, you were a dog, and I think as far as a full fighter, he definitely showed that. But then I think that was there was ladies that were fighting as well. I wasn't able to pick it all up. I think there was a drop. But what I can say is that the girls did very good. Again, I wish my stepdaughter Juliana was fighting, but the girls, they did a very good job. I believe they had a little bit of experience. The one girl, looked like they both looked good. But I think that was one of the highlights, because you don't really see girls fighting. When you do see them fight, it's a beautiful fight. It really is. Like, these girls, if you see a girl that even has any skills,
they're not there to. This is not a beauty
rare.
pageant. This is not an Instagram post. This is, I'm here to fight. I'm here to fuck somebody up.
Definitely.
It's a pretty cool thing to watch, and we have a few girls in the gym that have come through here, whether it's Christine or Shadeja's been in here. It's a cool thing to see that you can hang. And you get to a
what was one of your top fights?
So one of the ones that I remember seeing was the kidney shot from Kalik. I'm watching this kid, and Kalik was just outclassed him in every way. And Kalik, I love Kalik. He has a long way to go. He's still Just got off the phone with Greg about renting out his PTC monthly for the gym. We'll talk about that later. We'll work on that. But as far as Khalik spends a lot of time not just sparring, but just about every day you're in here from 1 o'clock to 2:30, 3 o'clock. You're just working on a new skill, sure. And yeah, go for it. That body bag over on the side gets a lot of work. And watching him get into it, watching him really just dig into all the things that we've been working on is really an incredible thing, because one of the things that people think is that when you're fighting, it's just flailing your arms, or you kind of are thinking in the moment, and that's not the case. It's a lot of muscle memory. It's doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, a million fucking times, and it's boring. It's tedious. It's you develop what is it called, tennis elbow, because you've thrown your arm out 20 million times. But when it comes time to fight, you are just in the flow, and your body already knows what to do. And being able to see that happen, where Khalik, because I saw you working on that jab and then that hook to the body, and that's exactly what happened. And it's the thing that you practice with him days and days and days and days, hours and hours and hours in a row. And it was, I'll come in here in the morning and Khalik's already in the gym, and he's jab, hook, and that's exactly what happened. And to see that, him practice that, and being able to do it over and over and over again, and utilize it, and watch the kid just drop because he takes that kidney shot, was probably the most incredible thing. To see that it is 100% about muscle memory, and we see the same thing with Quayshawn is not a fighter. He's not. He does this because we throw the events, and he's like, yeah, I'll do it, whatever, all right, sure. But he spars 20 hours. He does the same thing in sparring every single time, and it's muscle memory. The first 2 times that he fought, he doesn't remember a damn thing.
Yeah, and muscle memory is so big in boxing. It's huge. Also when Khalik was fighting, this is like the best part about what we do in our gym is, even though I'm practicing on certain things with certain fighters, whether Adam's practicing with them or I'm doing it with them, then we have, Coach T that steps in, and this is a man that's been doing this, for many years, many years. And, it feels good to see a fighter, because anybody that fights in our gym, they know that there's 3 coaches. You have myself, Coach Adam, Coach T. And the crazy thing about it is that midway in the fight, Coach T calls, a punch that, he tells Khalik to do, and the best part about that is, he calls, I can't remember exactly what it was, but he calls one of the right things. And, that set up, the knockdown. Just even with just the muscle memory I teach him, jab to the body, jab to the head, jab to the body, same hand. And, there's a lot of things that we teach these guys, and to know that you have a team, and to see your fighters giving you the feedback that you give, giving you what you train them, and they're doing it, that's how you know whether it's you, whether it's another coach, whether it's both of you guys, everything that we talk about, whether it's Coach T with all his little, drop through Mexico, this and that. And, what I mix in there was, a lot of muscle memory. I'm big on that. It all works out, because then now, when you're fighting, you have guys that can look at what you're doing, see your other opponent, and as a coach, you got to react quick. You have to see what this guy's doing. You got to see where the opening's at. Know what what your fighter can throw. So it's a beautiful thing. We have a great team here, and if it's something that I don't see, maybe Adam will see. If it's something that I don't see in the corner, and Coach T's in the corner, he's gonna say it. He's gonna put it out there. If it's something he may not know, or maybe he didn't train them. I'm training them, and that's the point of a team. You can't have one guy that does the same thing, and all compared to all 3 of the other guys. Everybody's got to be a little different, but you got to come together as one. And, that's what makes, all, us three just real good with each other. Whether I'm there, whether T's there, whether Adam's there, like it all works out because whatever I train, Adam knows what I'm training. Whatever I train, T knows. Whatever T knows, I know. Whatever Adam's training, we all know. And it's hard to find that. Again, it's hard to find team. It's hard to find people you could trust. It's hard to find, anything. But moving forward to the fights, you had Khalik fight was really, really good. Za's fight was really, really good because it showed us, I can be a little biased with Za, right? Because I've been training this kid. So, if the audience is like, well, he didn't do too great, I wouldn't know. Because I'm like, no, he did amazing. My mindset with Za is always, we got to be the best. We got to be the best. We got to be best. We got to be warriors. We got to fight. We got to fight. This is, this is not a nice sport. If these people embarrass you, they'll embarrass you. If you were a pro fighter and they had ways to kill you, they probably would. This is just how the game is. You get rewarded for putting a beating on somebody. And it's a beautiful thing, but it also sucks at the same time. So, when I train these guys, everything is, killed or be killed. As crazy as that sounds, it's not as bad as it sounds, but, that's the model that we go with. And if we don't go with that, then what the hell are we training for, right? Like, we're not training. And, what I love about Q is, you have guys like Khalik and Za who are like, man, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I gotta train the hardest I have to train. And you got guys like Q that are like, I'm good, man, I'm good. What I love about Q is not only is his muscle memory, the best in the business. I think that, Q kind of sets a whole nother standard of like a fighter. Like, oh, maybe you don't have to spar so much, or maybe you don't have to do this, maybe you don't have to do that. Obviously, sparring is part of the game, but what I love about him is, he does this because he wants to show himself, prove himself. One, he loves it, but he also wants to prove to himself that even though I'm a little older, I still got something in me. And I think that's what all of us, want to prove to ourselves, whether it's anything in life, right? We want to show that we can do this. And I think that's what Q does. He shows the people that, listen, man, as long as you just give it your all and you just work on your craft every day, you will be rewarded. And boxing's the one sport that, or the one thing, one of the few things that what the work you put in is what you're going to get out of it. And I think that's the beautiful thing. And then Za's fight was obviously great. Especially when there's a kid and he's like a fan favorite and everybody wants to watch, it gets real loud. It gets real loud. It gets real good. And I think that it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. And he's on the come up. He's on the come up. And people don't realize he's only been training not long.
No, he started,
I would say 4 to 6 months tops. And we're talking about actually training maybe 4 months or 2 months after coming in. Like really, really trying to train to be a fighter. And you just gotta love that performance.
I remember because his father came to us and he's like, yo, my son told me that he was getting ready for spring training or spring training for
football, and he said he wanted to be I wanted to do boxing.
I think I want to box.
And football's a beautiful sport. It's entertaining.
Occupies your Sundays.
Oh yeah, it definitely occupies my Sundays. Fantasy football, baby. But
how's it going, Lady Nico? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Welcome to the podcast.
The come up.
The come up.
But yeah, the fights were great, man. They were really good. They showed.
Solid.
I love it when our fighters fight because they show us, that grit. They show us, and there were a lot of fights.
There were a lot of fights, and I'll tell you what, even the ones that weren't our guys, they were
amazing.
All battles.
Oh yeah, you had stoppages.
Battles. You had headgear flying off. You had mouth guards coming out.
It was good.
It was solid. It was solid. Thank you for the repost, Lady and Nico. It was incredible. It was an incredible day, and anybody that missed it, you got to get on this. You really do. It's a lot of fun, and we're looking at in the summer. Anybody that's in the tri-state area, we're looking at doing an outdoor one where it's a free event. So probably like June, July next year.
That one's going to be great. We have that. Like we told you guys, we have a lot in store. There are things that happen where it's like the day of, we're like perfect.
Yeah.
We did this, and then the next day is like, oh no, we didn't. We still got 20 more steps.
Right.
You know, and
Every
that's
time
all.
I'm learning something new.
That's all part of it. But our goal is to take over this city. You know, to make events. We want to make it where everybody knows Will's Den, and they want to come to our events. They want to be there. They want to showcase, and even people that want to be a part of it. You know, we're putting people on, okay? You know, and we're learning, and this is what it's about. You know, it's putting the right people on, putting people that want this just as bad as we do and want to see us grow, and we want to see everybody else grow around us, and we're doing a good job. You know, we had a great staff. We had from our announcer to Todd to our halftime show, you know, to Zoku music. Then we had Nick, aka Joker, man. He's been really kicking us off with Rumble, and we appreciate Rumble for everything that they're doing, front paging us and doing everything. But we also appreciate Nick for just putting us on, man. And this is what we're talking about: positive vibes. People that want it just as bad as we do.
Doing.
Nick wants this shit just as bad as we do. Okay, and that's what it's about. It's what it's about. Even the parents that are like, Digam is one of them. Anything you need from me, man, I help out. Like, it's just about the positive. It's just about moving forward, and just constantly. We had ring girls there for the first time. They did a great job. It's all part of what we're building.
Our national anthem was sung by
our national anthem, a professional opera singer. Again, it's not easy to get these people in these events. They're so busy. And I don't know if anyone knows about opera singers, but like they can blow. They can sing. Do I think the national anthem is a little out of their comfort zone as far as opera it is? But when you can come in here and still do that and still sound good doing it, that's how you want to start your event. You get that national anthem right out the way, but somebody that really can sing really good and hit those high notes when everybody's waiting for it. And that's what it's about. It's about the team that we're building, and
it's about the positivity, because it's not just about all the other outside things, but boxing overall is a very positive sport. It keeps kids off the streets. It keeps you in the gym. It keeps you doing things that are constructive with your body. And as long as you have the right mindset, you go far. Whether you become a champion or not, you're going to make money. You're going to learn how to solve situations that are increasingly pressurized, I guess, with a calm and a reserve, and really be able to think things out. Every part of this gym, every part of the event itself was positive, and that's what we're trying to create, is just a positive atmosphere where people want to be, where people want to come and watch what our guys are doing, and I think that's one of our biggest pluses. I think we are accomplishing that. You guys in the chat, let us know if you think if that's the case. But I think that's kind of where I think that's what we're doing.
And the main thing is, we talk about this every day, is that everything we're doing is better, right? We're polishing things off. We're making things better. We're adding some things that,
polishing things up, not off.
Yeah, I didn't say off. I said polishing up. But all right, maybe I said that. But we're polishing things up.
And polishing off sounds like you're giving a blowjob.
Oof, that's not good. That's not good at all.
I mean, it depends on who you are, maybe.
Definitely. So, yeah, we're just making things better. And I get it now, yeah. We're just making things better, and that's our main goal. That is definitely our main goal, and we're only going up from here. These events are getting easier for us, and the cards. We talk about like having fireworks. There was a lot of good fights early on and later. All the fights were pretty good. This is one of our best cards thrown so far, and it's with the positivity of the people. It's with everyone wanting to help. Our whole staff, our whole team. Just everybody. Caring about this just as much as we do, and they want to make us happy. And what they don't realize is they're making us happy as well, because it's just so hard to find good people that are willing to help and see you grind. But as far as the fights, I mean, everything was good for the most part, and
awesome.
And then, when you throw fights and you got our guys winning, it's always a plus. It's always a plus. And then, even for the fighters that lose, because this is the part people don't talk about, right? We always talk about the winning, but the fighters that lose, listen, keep your head up. It's amateur boxing.
Yep.
The truth is, everybody wants to win, but winning and losing is just that is just getting you prepped and ready. I always tell people it's better to lose early on, because when you lose early on, you know how to face defeat. But when you are a fighter that's 1-1-1 and that's all you do is win, and then you go to you become a pro, you do get that first loss, you don't even know how to handle it. So a lot of these guys, some of them even stop, they quit. And it's like, I can't believe I did this, or that feeling of I'm not good enough. But all of our fighters, for the most part, they know what it's like to get that first defeat, and that's what makes them who they are. We go back to the drawing board and we train, and they know where they made the mistakes at, and then they get better and better. And us as coaches, we're the first ones that will not say, oh, we know it all. No, we don't. We're learning every day. There are different styles. There's different things that happen. Our main job is to figure out what do we have to do to get the wins, and what do we have to do to make our fighter better. And, and we're our fighters' biggest critics. And even though sometimes our fighters win, I'll be the first one to say, man, you won, but that shit looked horrible. And maybe they don't want to hear that, but at least they know.
And in spite of Khalik winning, in spite of Zah winning, last night we pulled them into the office and we're like, you're watching the fight. Why did you do this? Why didn't you let it go? Why did you wait so long to throw that first punch? What? Here, watch this fight. What's he do when he first comes out? Oh, he throws a punch. He makes sure that he stays busy. And that's what the judges are looking for. Those are the types of things that will win you the round. It'll win you the match. Just stay consistent. And these are the things that it's like, why did you wait until you got punched in the face before you started fighting back? And maybe sometimes we're a little bit tougher on these guys than need be, but
and the truth is that
we're getting punched in the face, and we want to make sure that they.
The truth is when you come from a winning gym, everybody in this gym has a winning record. That's 100%. And the truth is when you come from a winning gym and you win a lot, especially with your main fighters, you want to continue to win. And one thing I remember T always telling me, losing is contagious, but so is winning. And when you win, it becomes very contagious to the point where you don't want to lose ever. All you want to do is win. And when you lose, us as coaches, being who we are, first thing we say is, what did we do? Did we not do enough this training camp? Did I mess up something? Did I not train them hard enough? And that's what makes a coach right there. Is did you lose and we say, don't worry about it. No. When you lose, it's like, first thing is,
where did you lose?
I don't really talk to the fighter right after, right? Because I'm thinking of, what did I do wrong? Right? What did we do something different? Was I not tough on him enough? And that's where, whether you're a parent, whether you're, a fighter, that's when you got something good. When these coaches, they don't just laugh about it, If I had 4 fighters that I went out to a fight for and they all lost, whether the competition was better than them or same level as them, definitely they better not have been worse than them. Or not worse than them, but not as good as our fighter. I don't talk really much, right? Because it's not winning. Winning is what we want, and that's what we're so accustomed to. And when I started off, training and we were losing, whether it's in the pro level, amateur level, it was not good. It wasn't good at all, and I kept telling myself, what the hell is the problem? What do I have to do? Afterwards. Is this for me? And you start thinking, and now there's no doubt, it's not about if this is for me. This is for us, obviously, and for every coach in here. But now it's more of, winning the big stages. We know we can win battle shows, but now it's winning the big stage. The nationals and things like that. So we're on a right trajectory right now, and everything is going well. And we just gonna keep training, keep working hard in the business, keep training, and just keep moving. And that's what's gonna get us to where we need to be. And like I said, it's the Come Up Podcast. We're not gonna stop. We're gonna keep coming. We're gonna keep coming and doing it. So on another note, Coach, Let's talk about.
So there was one fight that I did really enjoy. I just wanted Rob fought a guy. Rob has 3 fights. He was one of the heavyweights, and the guy that he fought had 11 fights. And Rob lost. However, he banged with this guy. He did a lot better than I thought he would. And he even got that little pivot in there. Ha ha.
Yes.
And I just want to give a shout out to Rob for that. It was a solid fight and something that you should be proud of. So I apologize. Go ahead.
Well, just to get to that, Rob, you know, as fighters, we're always worried, right? We're always worried. And you know, as a fighter, and this is again, people don't really talk about. If I'm a fighter with 3 fights and I'm fighting a guy who has maybe 10, 11 fights, should I be worried? Hell yeah, I should be worried. Because you can't, experience is something that, you know, it's not something that is taught. You have to actually live it. You know, you have to actually go through the experience of fighting 11, 12 different people. You know, it sets the tone with certain fighters. You know, they say an open class fighter. This is why, you know, USA Boxing does is open class should not be fighting a novice. But, you know, here at Wolves Den, we take chances. You know, we don't play around. We take chances. If we see a guy, if our kid's 1-0 and you got a kid that's 4-1, why not? Let's do it. Let's take a chance, because people don't realize is that, one, you know, as far as any of these kids getting hurt, USA Boxing does a damn good job at protecting these fighters. They do. You get caught clean with a good, I'm talking about a really hard shot, and you even look like you're stumbling, they're gonna see what's going on. They're gonna look at your eyes, make sure you're looking straight. They're gonna talk to you there and make sure you could know how many fingers they have up. But you know, you should never worry about really. You know, you shouldn't worry, because, and one in our gym we training. Your training is gonna be 10 times harder than the fight. That's how it's always been. And you guys train hard. You know, guys like Zah, guys like Khalik, Rob, all you guys, Lenny, Big Mike, you know, we all train hard. And you definitely have a good team backing you up that knows what the hell they're talking about and trains you the right way. So, you know, we take the chances, and that was a good fight from Rob. It really was. You know, there were times and moments in the fight where it's like, damn, Rob, you caught him with a 4-piece. Mm-hmm. You know, but then did he go back to that whole, I'm worried again, you know? And then a lot of times, fighters, they fight a guy. Maybe he's taller.
Oh man, I got.
And they look 10 times bigger than you. But then you're in the ring, and when you size them up, Rob was definitely a thicker dude.
He's thicker, but that dude was tall.
You know, but the truth is that you just, you know, Rob, you fought an open class fight, and you damn near, you know, he spoke to me after, you know, and give a shout out to Kevin. I believe his last name is Johnson.
Yep.
Dude, you come to every event. You show so much love. Like, man, you're a wonderful dude, man. I hope boxing, if this is exactly what you want to do, you go far in it, because, man, you're a respectful dude. You know, you're a great dude, man, great dude. But and, you know, that's what we talk about, positive. Like, even after the fights, you know, these guys are positive, showing love. But Rob definitely proved something to us. He showed us, and you know, he trains hard. He trains hard. You know, when he definitely comes in, you know, beings that he works too. You know, it's not easy to work and do this. It's not. I remember when I was doing it, I was exhausted.
You know, one of the things that people don't realize is that because boxing is not a collegiate sport, or it's not a sport that's in high school or anything like that, these guys are doing this outside of school. So there's no draft, there's no, you know, you go to school, there's no pathway to it. You're working. You have to pay your gym membership. You have to pay for your other gym because you need to lift. You have to pay for you know, your car to, you know, it's not like you just get out of school and you just walk over to the field, or you walk over to the ring, or this is not that same sport. There's no real path other than what we're doing here to get noticed. And it makes it a much more difficult thing to do. This is your side hustle, and this is, you know, these guys that are doing this, the reason that they go to sleep at night is so that they can be well rested for the gym. The reason they go to work is so that they can pay their gym membership and pay their car bill so they can get to the gym. And the reason that they do all these things is so that they can be the best boxers they can be. This is not, all right, well, I'm going to go to college because I know I'm going to go to this college because it's a D1 college, and I know that I'll get drafted into the NFL. There is no NFL or there's no college league for boxing. We are, you know, this is This is what Joker keeps saying, is that we want to be the college football to the NFL, and that's what we're doing, and that's why we put it on such a big stage like Rumble, because we know that this is going to help these guys out. But these guys are putting in hours. They're putting in hours, and they're putting in a lot of work, and they gotta get credit for that. Every single one of them.
Oh yeah. And Chad, listen, I'm gonna have to step out, but Coach Adam will finish everything here.
We are. I mean, we're hitting the hour mark.
Definitely, but I think it would be good for them to know the aftermath, though.
I mean, we counted up tickets. We went through everything, and we made it happen. We're going to be doing Rumble in the Den 5. January 10th is the tentative date, right, Joker? That's what we're looking at, and stay tuned. Stay tuned. Watch us. Watch us grow, because we're on the come up. And we counted the tickets. Our voices were hoarse afterwards. These guys were exhausted, and they just did an amazing job. The whole show was amazing, and I know that everybody that's here. We have we have 40, but we hit 47 viewers, and I'm pretty sure all of them came over. We grew our channel up and everything. From this, and we want to keep it growing, keep it going, and making it a huge splash in this. So, guys, have a wonderful weekend, and we're going to keep doing
like,
this.
share, comment, do it all.
Follow us, all that's good stuff. We appreciate you guys. We love you. We'll see you soon. Have a good one, guys. Have a good one.
Be safe.